Hey everyone, and welcome back to News of Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And I want to talk to you about the recent announcement of the new Fantastic Four cast. That's right, we're getting a new Fantastic Four film. We got the title and the final design, I guess, of the title of the film. It's slated to come out next year, I believe. And it's really interesting. I want to talk about it because one actor who's seemingly getting all the roles in every franchise you can think of is a part of this team, and that's none other than Pedro Pascal himself. So I have the article here, and this is from the cinemaspot.com. And I know it came out a few days ago, but I knew I wanted to make a video about it and talk about it just a little bit because, you know, the Fantastic Four is a property that I do want it to see some success. You know, the previous iterations of Fantastic Four have not been good. They've all failed. They were all lackluster. They all had bad scripts. But now that it's in the MCU, I think I have a good feeling about this one. So before I get into the details, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Click on the bell notification so you don't miss anything. Join my Discord. Invitation to that is in the description box below, along with the links to the rest of my social media. And also, the links to my social media is right here on the overlays. It's right there. You got my YouTube, Twitter, Instagram right there. And so do you know, access to my Twitch and, of course, my TikTok, which I also post content there. So let's go ahead and talk about it. After years of speculation, Marvel Studios finally confirmed Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Susan, Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm. The Thing are cast with Matt Shakman's upcoming The Fantastic Four. Instead of a big reveal at Hall H during San Diego Comic-Con or through reports in the trades, well, mostly, they dropped the fascinating piece of key artwork that could give hints about the movie and what to expect. And I'll break down this little picture right here of the Fantastic Four in just a sec. But let me just talk about the actors for a moment. Now, Pedro Pascal, we're all familiar with him. He's been in a lot of properties such as Game of Thrones. He's well known for The Mandalorian, the recent Last of Us series, and now he's in Fantastic Four. The guy's everywhere. He's been in like just about everything lately. He's really super popular, and it kind of makes sense to go with him. Plus, he kind of fits the role of Reed Richards. He kind of looks like him in a way. So I could definitely see it happening here. And another actor that really sticks out is Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, which also he looks like the part. And if you don't recognize him, or maybe you do, he was recently in season 4 of Stranger Things. He played that guitar, like that metal guy. You know, spoiler alert, he did die in the show, but he was super popular and a lot of people loved his character. And that season was a total hit. Everybody loved it. And of course, Metallica was also trending around that time too. And I don't need to tell you why, but you know, go watch it. But it looks like a really good cast. It's really reminiscent of like the 60s because from what I know, it's a timepiece movie. This does take place in the 60s. My theory is that they go back in time to the 60s. And I think Galactus is going to be a huge, you know, villain in the movie. That's what they're aiming for probably. But like if you look at their costumes, they're very reminiscent to like the suits from like the 60s. Also, the Lifetime magazine that Ben Grimm is reading is of like a magazine that actually was issued and released in 1963. Even in the background here, this picture right here, this person, you can't see my mouse, but there's an astronaut in a NASA uniform in like the picture frame, and the suit is from like the 80s. And I've actually looked up some astronaut suits that were around from that era, and it kind of comes close to that as far as design goes. Are the Fantastic Four from like the 80s and then they went back to the 60s to get their powers early on? Why hasn't anybody ever mentioned them in previous MCU movies besides, of course, copyright, or you know, you can't reference them because they were Fox property until recently. They came back to Marvel Studios. We'll just have to wait and see. And look at the new logo. It says Marvel Studios, and it's got like that retro 1960s like look on it where it says Marvel and the official Fantastic Four symbol. Now it's called The Fantastic Four. And the previous movies had the simple title of just Fantastic Four or Fant Four Stick, that awful Fantastic Four movie that came out in 2015. And it says here the swinging 60s. The overall vibe and aesthetic harken back to the 1960s when the F4 was created and debuted in Marvel Comics. The group's costumes also look more like in line with their classic comic book outfits than almost any other take on the Four. And beyond just the general look, there are some specific clues, like the Marvel Studios logo emulating the classic Cinerama logo. That's what it's called, Cinerama. That's right here. And it's right there on the Marvel, right there. It looks just like Cinerama. And that's really cool that they're doing it that way to keep in line with that. And the specific issue of Life magazine that Ben is reading was published in 1963, as pointed out by the Twitter user I Am Fires. Thus, it seems pretty safe to say the movie will take place in the 1960s, at least partially. Michael Roman, I Am Fires, if you watch Everything Always, he's also a good YouTuber who does these breakdowns. Life magazine in 1963. Yep, there it is right there. Now, whether or not the Fantastic Four are from Marvel Cinematic Universe Earth 616 is a trickier question to answer. They could be retconned like Captain Marvel was in the 90s, yet the four are usually much public and well-known figures. So having them exist in 616 history is hard to square away with continuity, albeit not impossible. There's any number of comic booky things that they can do to explain in the four being around in the 60s but not remembered. Maybe a villain erased everyone's memory, but this is the multiverse saga. So the four could perhaps be from another Earth and then ended up in 616, or maybe they don't cross over at all until Secret Wars. I think they might do what they did with at the end of Captain the Marvels. I actually saw the Marvels last night on Disney Plus. It's not a good movie, but at the end, Photon, or at least Monica Rambeau, her character, literally goes into another reality where the X-Men exist. And I think in that same reality, the Fantastic Four exists. And because of Deadpool Wolverine coming up, and Deadpool probably messing with the timeline and in the MCU, he's probably going to merge those realities together, where the Fantastic Four and X-Men exist in one reality, and the rest of the MCU is in the current 616 reality. And I think that's how we're going to get our Fantastic Four in the same universe eventually. That's just my theory. You know, I mean, Deadpool Wolverine is coming out first. It's the only Marvel Studios movie coming out this year. And I think it's going to be an important movie. I think it's also going to do really well, too. A Fantastic Family. Now, the Image has a big Valentine's Day banner because the news dropped on Valentine's Day, but it could also hint that there's going to be more focus on Reed and Sue's relationship than prior adaptations have given. And the Image also confirms one of the characters in the film, Herbie. Herbie is, or humanoid experimental robot B-type integrated electronic, is a robotic companion created by Reed to help search for Galactus. Herbie had a brief appearance in Tim Story's 2005 Fantastic Four adaptation, but will likely have a meteor role here. And a couple of the other tidbits, a few other things to note, portrait of Ben Grimm as in astronaut gear. Pre-transformation indicates Marvel Studios plans to keep the Force traditional origin of getting powers from cosmic rays while on an expedition in space, rather than making any sort of big changes, which is cool. And he looks more like his comic book counterpart in this image right here. As mentioned above, Herbie was created to help track Galactus, or so perhaps Galactus is the villain of the movie. This will line up with rumors that have been going on around for a while. Moreover, if Galactus is in the movie, he'll need a herald. The obvious pick for the herald would be the Silver Surfer, but there are quite a few from the comics to pick from, like Terex or the Fire Lord. Overall, it's still too early to say anything super definitive about the movie, but at least we can finally start to form some more concrete theories about it. What theories do you have? Let us know in the comments, and don't miss Fantastic Four when it hits theaters July 25th, 2025. Now, I also want to see Mole Man as like a B character, like a side character, you know, a side villain. Mole Man would be cool to have him appear in one of the movies. But yeah, I mean, this is really exciting, and if Galactus is going to be the villain, I'm in. I've been wanting to see a proper Galactus be adapted into a film, unlike what we got in Tim Story's version in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Galactus was literally a freaking cloud. And there was a moment where like you can see Galactus's like helmet, but like in the shape of like a light ray or something that's like forming, and it was kind of creepy looking. Supposedly Galactus was hiding in that gigantic space cloud the entire time. Who knows? But that's what Galactus was, a gigantic space cloud, because they were afraid of doing something as ridiculous as like a gigantic being swallowing and eating planets and stuff like that. So whatever. I'm excited for this. Let me know if you are excited for the Fantastic Four as well. And as always, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, click on the bell notifications so you all don't miss anything. Dislike the video if you did, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.